I'm Mikael Gummerus. I'm the CEO and founder of Frosmo. Thank you for IAB for having me here, because Frosmo hasn't been very long in display advertising business, but yet you warmly welcomed us, and that's really great. And also it's really nice to see a lot of familiar faces here and to be able to talk to you guys about lessons we've learned about creating competitive advantage. So Frosmo is my second company. I've been an entrepreneur for 6.5 years. My first company is a gaming company, still producing games, for example, Maailman nopein kansa and 5 Street. But Frosmo was an idea that was born inside that company, and originally Frosmo was a gaming platform. It was a platform helping game makers to monetize their games. Eventually, we got huge amount of traffic and gamers through our distribution strategy, which worked with big, large portals, but we wasn't getting enough sufficient revenues. So we needed to change our business model. What we do now is we do something what we call customer experience management software. I'm going to explain to you soon what it means. But this 6.5 years has been a really wild ride. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about is something that you might forget in your day-to-day work because it's so busy. And that's about creating competitive advantage in the web. We all know how difficult it's out there. It's very competitive. It's so difficult to stand out. And why is that? Because web is so easy for consumers to use. It's transparent. You can also start to check your competitors' stuff immediately and see if they have brought any results or not. And that makes web so challenging. It's so easy to copy things, and all the services are becoming very similar because the best practices are copied immediately. So how on earth can you create competitive advantage, especially in consumer-related web? How can you get the same emotion to your customers that this guy is having when he's walking out from the Apple store? So that is the challenge. So if we think about, for example, social gaming, where, for example, Frosmo started at the beginning, it's a business that didn't exist a few years ago. So it went from €0 to a few billion euros in a few years. In the beginning, what happened was that the old gaming companies were just blown out. They didn't understand the new distribution channel, Facebook, which was based on recommendations. When you saw your friend playing a new weird game called Farmville, you wanted to try it out in Facebook, and they really leveraged that. So what happened after they started to leverage a distribution channel? Everything is so transparent in Facebook. You can study the statistics from each application. You can see if they started to try to use this kind of stuff, what kind of impact it had in retention, daily average users, monthly average users, and you could copy it immediately. So it became really fierce competition, and all the games started to look alike. So right now we have Zynga as the biggest company in social gaming, making 3 billion euros in revenues this year, dollars. And what is the only competitive advantage that is left for them? That is how to get their gamers back again and again. So for us, or startups in general, it seems that the competitive advantage for B2C services in web circles around retention. So what we feel is that you need to be able to create highly relevant personalized experience for your customer from start to finish, which will increase retention and eventually your revenues. So it seems that it boils down to 3 issues: strategy, human element, and fast execution. Strategy is something that companies tend to forget or overlook really easily, especially for small startups. But it's really, really important, because when companies and services are copying each other's all the time, a good strategy will help you to make decisions what to try and what not to try. So what do I say often to startups is that take out those business books again, or if you have a boss and you feel that you don't have clear understanding of what is our strategy, what makes us different, what will create us a positioning that will make us a sustainable business at the market, demand it from your boss. Human element. You guys are great. You're fabulous. It is very difficult to copy. So if you have your strategy, and you have your lovely team, it's a lot better already than most of the technical solutions. Your expertise will make it hard to copy. What's really important about startups teams and successful startups is that the teams are very small and focused. Facebook core development team is just 15 people. You don't need more techie guys for creating something unbelievable. Kayak, a travel business company, started with 3 guys. It's now running a multi-billion-dollar business in a very competed business area. And the one thing that is also similar with the small teams is, or aligned with the small teams, is that usually it requires tyranny. It breaks my heart to see that there are so many big companies that have these great resources, but it's all based on compromises. In order to make your web business successful, you're going to need tyranny. Third thing, probably familiar for all of you guys, the lean startup process. If you're not performing it, your competition is. So the idea is that you need to make your learning curve as fast as possible. So you have an idea, you build it quickly, then you measure the results, you learn from it, and then you make the loop run as fast as possible. Strategy plus team plus fast execution, that is the combination, especially in startups, which creates for you a competitive advantage that's hard to copy. So, how does Frosmo come in picture to this? Well, we're your fast execution. What we mean with customer experience management is that through our software, you can start to create that highly relevant, personalized experience. And we believe that if you have that tools for testing and creating automated processes combined with your team and your strategy, you will create your own fingerprint to the market, which you can repeat, test, and eventually you will start to stand out to the market. Your customers will start to return to your service more and more often. So what we've done is we've combined full-site personalization. That is where we first started from when we moved away from gaming. Ad targeting, and very precise revenue tracking, adjustable for any sales goals, all into one service. We believe it should go all hand in hand. So it starts, or first of all, the most important thing in the beginning is segmentation, understanding your users. How can you retain them? So you need to be able to segment them really precisely. In top of that, you have to be able to try and test different kind of very creative approaches for your different segments. So we allow to try any form, any shape, anywhere at your site, very different kind of content. And what you start to do is you start to measure, variate, and once you get them, one process working, bringing you great revenues results, then you can automate it and move to the next one. And the faster you can make this process, the more successful you will be. And then the third thing, display advertising. We don't feel it's a separate part of your customer experience. It should go hand in hand, whether you're a publisher or advertiser. So you need to be able to test, target, and synchronize display advertising together with your site. What I think about the publishers is that for me, as a consumer, it's sometimes quite horrible experience to surf those sites with pretty horrible ads. So why shouldn't that experience be pleasant for me too? Again, it goes back to the retention. Some of our lovely customers also here. Thank you for you guys. Veikkaus, for example, Sanoma, Otava. Lippu.fi is another of our customers. In Germany, it's Eventim. What we've done with them is we've had a great cooperation now for almost 2 years. And it all started from collecting valuable user information about the behavior, what kind of events people love to join. And then they have a very complex solution that comes from Germany. What we can do is on top of that, we can start to build any kind of content, try different kind of approaches, presenting different kind of events for different customer groups. And eventually, we managed to increase their sales conversions. And we can make it really fast. We can start to try and experiment with very different kind of visual approaches. We're also improving possibilities to commercialize that data in another way, for example, creating different kind of targeted campaigns for advertisers. Otavamedia, another great case, we started with their classified used car sales marketplace, Nettiauto, in 2010. Got great results in improving the sales conversions for premium ads there, meaning the promotions for used car sales guys. We later expanded the cooperation to all the NetTX sites, and from this experience, what we learned from there, how did we segment the users, what we understood about using the service, we created together with Otavamedia their new Vainu, highly targeted display advertising solution, which is their own totally unique approach to this, and it's creating great results with the customers. So I'm really happy about this cooperation. So, to summarize, strategy, team plus fast execution. You are a great people, and you have to demand the strategy and then use fast execution method to create the competitive advantage that's hard to copy at the market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mikael. Do we have questions? Come on. Okay, once again, nobody else wants to ask, so I'll start.
Yep.
You're coming from a gaming background.
Yep.
Does this approach work with all kinds of content equally well?
Excuse me? I come from a gaming...
you're from a gaming background.
Yep.
Does this kind of approach into content work as well, regardless of what kind of content you're dealing with?
Yeah, we agree. I think it's that way because the gaming services were the first one to learn this fast iteration and understanding that you need to start developing the game services segment by segment, and the key thing is because games are turning free to play, what you can only do is you need to get your gamers back as often as possible so that they start to pay. So eventually I think with retail and media sites, basically any of these, it applies the same thing. You need to have speed, you need to be able to try a lot of different stuff in order to see what works and what not.
How much have you studied the news industry? How would this work with, say, a news site? The news industry is in big trouble because of people not being willing to pay for content.
Well, that's a tricky thing. I can't say here immediately what some business area should do. What I'm saying is that, first of all, that companies should start from trying to figure out the basic stuff about how do we position our company and our services. Right now, it seems that a lot of the news services are just copying the features they see at the other sites, and they all become quite similar, where they're trying to chase clicks from radical headlines. Sorry to say that. But so you need to have, again, the positioning, the strategy, then you have the great team, and then you start experimenting so that you can always check, is this experiment supporting our strategy? And then it starts to come down there. You can't change it in one night. None of these Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, they weren't one-night successes. There's something you need to build on top of things all the time.
Okay, questions? Now, anybody? There's one.
Yeah, so we have a software, SaaS software, which you can use over a web interface. It works with a simple JavaScript integration, so the customer just places JavaScript to their website, and through that JavaScript we can collect the data, and we can also present the content without doing any CMS integrations or layout changes. All the content is basically loaded as layers on top of the existing site, so the technical risk is very minimal. And we're really proud about our expertise in JavaScript. We can do quite a lot of magic with it. We can track really precisely, for example, the revenues, and experiment a lot of stuff which would otherwise require IT department from our customer side. Now they don't need to do that, so that's been very valuable for them. Yeah, we do A/B testing, but let's say A/B testing is a very simple thing where you can test whether it should be a red button or a green button. What we want to do is we want to help our customers to create automated processes where there are complex or simple rules based on, for example, that if user has bought something like this, should we show and test something like that? When it starts to work, it becomes a process which you can variate and learn from it. So not just basic A/B testing.
Okay, thank you, Mikael.